Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Biodiversity and Conservation. And my name is Subhalakshmi Rao from Ambika Prasad Research Foundation, India. And today we are continuing our series of UGC NET examination Environmental Science, sixth subject. And this is the fifth part of Unit 3 Environmental Biology. And today we are going to study about food web of an ecosystem. Food web. Food web is a graphical representation of non-linear, means not in straight line, but it's a circular cycle, a non-linear web of producers, primary consumers, and higher level consumers used to describe ecosystem structure and dynamics. In nature, actually, we will not find a chain that is strictly linear, but are actually interrelated and interconnected with one another to form a network. So simply food web means an interlocking of many food chains. So here actually we can see that food web is a collection of different topic species together with their feeding relationships. So a food wave may have all the three types of food chain, that is detritus, prey predator, and parasitic food chain. And a particular predator does not usually live only on one type of food. One animal may be a link in more than one food chain, either as prey, predator, or sometimes both. So here interlocking happens, and what goes on to make a food web a network is the fact that consumers also do not feed on all species present in community. They usually go for their favorable food, which may be a particular type of animal. Maybe lion loves to eat deer, so he prefers that type of animal, so we can see the food chain in that manner. But it doesn't mean that if any other different type of animal will come across lion, then he will not eat the animal. So a variety of factors determines the complexity of the food web, and there may be the variability of taste and the preference, like the lion eating deer, and the availability of prey. If there is more abundance of prey in a particular area, then the predators will easily get their food. So this also determines the food web complexity, and the compulsion and several other factors determine the complexity of the food web. For example, tigers normally do not eat fish or crab, but in Sundarbans, when they were forced to uh, feed on them because their normal prey was not available. So this also indicates the food web, the networking. So these are some factors that make the food web. Now, this is an example of food web where uh, food web starts from a normal grass autotroph, and from there it branches out to three different types of herbivore, like rabbit, mouse, grasshopper, and then they are also consumed by different uh, consumers, secondary consumers. Like grasshopper is eaten by bird and frog, and mouse is eaten by owl, hawk, fox, and rabbit is also eaten by fox and hawk. So this is This interlinking forms a food web. Now, there are three types of food web. First one is connectedness webs, second is energy flow webs, and third is functional webs. So here the connectedness webs show the feeding relationship among species. Means it shows the links between the organisms in a food web, and in energy flow webs shows the energy flow from one species to another, but quantifying it. Means the thickness of an arrow while representing the food web shows the strength of the relationship. Means if the thickness is or the arrow is more bold, then it will show that the producer or the consumer provides large amount of energy to the next trophic level. And in the functional webs, it represents the importance of each species in maintaining the integrity of of a community, and it reflects on the influence of that species on the growth rate of other species population. So here in the next slide we will see the example. Here you can see the comparison between three types of food web, where there are detritus, benthic diatoms, alaria, hedophyllum, corallina. All these are the food of these bacteria, and here we can see that they are consumed by some each uh, base level base trophic level organism is eaten by different bacteria. So here we can see the interlinking and the relation between each species as food. And in the next diagram, in the energy flow web, we can see there are lesser number of arrows, which represents the particular organism providing energy to a particular other level trophic level organisms. Like if we compare the first two uh, picture, where we can see that alaria is consumed by three types of bacteria, but in the energy flow web we can see alaria is providing larger amount of energy or larger quantity of energy to Catharina, one particular type of bacteria. And in the functional web, here we see that benthic diatoms and hedophyllum population actually influences the population of the two bacteria, Strongylocentrotus and Catharina. And this shows that if there is decrease in these benthic diatoms and hedophyllum, we will see decrease in these two bacteria population also. So they are the influential population in the functional food web. So the significance of the study of food webs. Why we study food webs? Food webs actually provide us the trophic relationships in the ecosystem, and the feeding relationship among the species in a community. So we can get the direct interactions and direct evidences of relations between two species and two organisms, and this can also make us know about their colonization and how they depend on each other to survive. And the second importance or second um, One is that we can get to know about the patterns of energy flow through different ecosystems. Maybe we can compare between two ecosystems and see the energy flow, for example, in terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem. Through these food webs, we can know the differences between these ecosystems. For example, in terrestrial ecosystem, we have high biomass, but we have low primary production by herbivores. But in the detritus food chain is dominant in terrestrial ecosystem. But in aquatic ecosystem, there is low biomass, means low plant or the producer level, and very high rate of consumers and harvest, and the grazing food chain is dominant in this particular type of ecosystem, that is aquatic ecosystem. And food webs can also be used to study the bottom up or top down control of community structure. So now we will discuss what is bottom up and top down. When when the population density of consumer controls that of a resource, for example, in predator population, where the predators control the abundance of prey, this type of situation is called top down. Means top trophic level determines the uh, population of the down trophic level organisms. And in bottom up, here the bottom level trophic level uh, is the controlling agent of the top trophic levels, means the producers controls the population of the consumers. If we will have a low amount of producers, then there will be low amount of consumers also. So this is the concept of bottom up and top down control. And next one is limitations of food web. As we know that we study food webs to know the relation between the organisms in the ecosystem, but in food web we can represent a limited structure of an ecosystem. So we aggregate many species into one trophic species, means a particular level which represents the same amount of, sorry, same type of predators or prey. Means we say primary producers, we group plants, bacteria, and other autotrophs into one level, that is primary producers. So, but we cannot show the real ecosystem producers. So this is one limitation here, and that is we show only a tiny portion of a complex ecosystem. And the second one is they are associated with a specific habitat, means food web of a lake or food web of a forest. We only provide a little picture where or a habitat where we can represent all these food webs. And food webs are generally considered static structures, means without any change in their trophic conditions, with tropic connection with fixed tropic connections among taxa. But we can see that there is change in their tropic conditions seasonally or due to changes in their morphology or behavior. For example, in many turtles and lizards, we see the switch from carnivores to herbivores. Like in the larval stage, they are carnivores because they feed on various little fishes or etc. in the water. But when they become adult, they become herbivore. They feed on grasses or grains, etc. So during their life cycle, there are so many changes. So we cannot show a static level of food web here. And there are many species with complex life cycles, and they are obligate members of two or more food webs during their evolution. Like all frogs with free living larvae change at metamorphosis from an aquatic omnivorous tadpoles to carnivorous adults. So here we can see the difference in their feeding pattern and difference in their life cycle. So we cannot show one type of food wave here because they live their life cycle with different feeding patterns. And the food webs also present the illustration that only prey-predator interactions or exploitative competitions are necessary in the community ecology, but there are other factors like um, chemical growth inhibitors or some behavioral interactions like cannibalism, commensalism that influence the community, which are not shown in the traditional food web. And these are some limitations of the food web. This is all from me today. Thank you.